Good morning, everybody. It is September 2nd, 2025. Right now it's 8:13 a.m. The market is going to open in 17 minutes. We've got the Nasdaq futures contract up here. We have a multi-chart, multi-time frame view going on. And we'll start with our higher time frames, take a look at what we got going on. Let's start with the monthly chart. I like to reference this up channel that we've been in since 2023, just to kind of keep the larger perspective in mind. We did have this massive pullback here. I don't call it a pullback. It's like I don't know what that thing is, but it is more than a pullback. A pullback would have been to here, but this thing just dropped on the tariffs. This was actually a really good opportunity to get long in the market long term. If you had any capital sitting around waiting to deploy, you could have bought as we were dropping down here, particularly on this candle. Again, this is a monthly chart, so much higher time frame chart. So a lot of us are not trading a monthly chart intraday. I realize that, but it's good to keep this in mind, keep a level head of what's going on. Clearly, we've moved back into this channel, and we are, it's only September 2nd, so this first candle that's forming now is only 2 days old. And I think that if we looked at, we zoomed out just a little bit, we can see that we've got, this channel's got room to the upside. I think 25,000, 26,000 in the next few months, maybe. Maybe finishing out the year up at 25,000, I think would be where she wants to go. But for today, we are going the opposite direction. We are headed down today. Let's see if I can get this guy to pop out. And let's move down to a daily chart. Clearly on the daily, remove some of these lines. We're pushing down here. This is a big level of support coming in there. We've got another level of support down here. It's probably going to tag this, and we can see we're starting to wick off that level in pre-market. I think we probably do want to, it's probably going to do one of these, and we probably want to come down another leg, which would, possibly signal a shift in market structure to the downside. But, we'll see what happens. I'm going to mark out this level here on my chart. When I mark out levels on one of my charts here, it's going to show up on all the charts. So if you see these orange lines popping up on lower time frames, it's just these levels that we marked out. Let's move down to a 4-hour now. And we can see that support level here on the orange. It's down there over here. You can see we're starting to wick away from that. If we zoom out just a little bit, let's take a look at what we've got going on. Let's just zoom out on the 4-hour. We can see that other touch point over here. Yeah, you can also see kind of a support area over here on the 4-hour. I think these two are going to be the big ones. If we get through this level at, 23,030-ish, we're probably going to be looking at 22,800, which obviously is about 200 points, which is a big drop. I don't know if it would drop down there today. We're already down 1.5% pre-market. Nasdaq wants to move a max of about 2.5%, and although I can't do the math in my head, right off the top of my head, it seems like that might be too big of a move for it to finish today, but you never know. Okay, so we've got some levels that are drawn out on the 4-hour. Let's now move down to the hourly. Take a look. This is an overnight session volume profile that you can see here. Really on volume profiles, what I'm looking for are low volume nodes. You can see a big low volume node up here and a higher volume node there. If price is moving into one of these levels, like let's say price was up here, and I started to see some bearish action, this would just be one more tool in my toolkit that I use to kind of confirm that this is an area of resistance. And so if price was moving up and then hit this LVN and then we broke structure to the downside, I might take that short there, and this LVN would kind of confirm that level for me, and coupled with price action, break a structure. But right now I'm not really seeing anything on a volume profile. We do look like we're overextended on the hourly. These are Bollinger Bands here, 20-period Bollinger Band, and we can see that, again, I'm not only using Bollinger Bands, but it's showing me that we are overextended, and with the market going to open in about 12 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a bounce despite overall market conditions being pretty bearish today. 5 minutes we can move down to, so not really seeing much on the hourly except that very just bearish price action. And we could actually draw a down channel here if we wanted to, like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we break this down channel, come up, and then make another move down. That's kind of classic price action where we break out of a sharp decline, break that structure to the upside, and then come down and put in a new low. But we'll see what happens with it. Let's look at the 5 minute over here. It's the 5 minute chart on the NQ. Nice little pullback here. This is actually really, it looks like a really nice setup. We've got clear bearish structure to the downside. And so we can zoom out. Clear bearish structure to the downside. That's an old line. And, you know, I can try to draw that down channel that we drew on the 1 hour right there. We might want to come up to the top of that down channel. I don't know. We may want to get up there. May just want to break structure right now and push another leg down. You know, as scalpers, this is something that I'm looking at. This would be a nice setup if the market were open, where we've got a clear down structure, or clear structure to the downside. Higher time frames are all confirming the bearish trend. And then on this 5 minute, you've got this support trend line here. It's got 1, 2, 3 nice touches on it. And then we break that, and you probably be just looking at taking profit at the bottom of the band down there on the 5 minute. You know, it may, like I said before, it may want to, you know, put in another leg down here somewhere. But this would probably be my target area, just targeting that lower band there on the 5 minute. Your stop is a clear stop right there. So it's a nice, you know, 3R on it. But I'm not going to trade pre-market, so that's off the table. Moving down further, we've got our 1,000 volume chart, and this is where I'm really looking at a volume profile for the session. Oop, this is 2,000. This is the wrong chart. This is an overnight session volume profile, but I'm going to move over to this other chart. I know this stuff's getting kind of a lot of stuff going on, but I don't use all this stuff all the time. I'm usually using 2 or 3 charts at once, but depending on whatever strategy I'm going to use, I like having them all up just so I can reference them if needed. So this is the 1,000 volume chart right here with no volume profile on it. There is a regular trading hours volume profile that'll pop up once the market opens, and I like to just look at that to find those low volume nodes that can be support and resistance, particularly if we begin to trend. One of the strategies that I really like is, like for instance, if we were to break, let's say, the support level that we have drawn out down here. This is that support area we drew out on the 4 hour, which is over here. We see that touch over here, and then there's that support level we drew out. You know, price broke the support level and we thought we were going to make another move down. What I'd like to see is a low volume node form and then a high volume node form as price consolidates. I would expect this low volume node to act as resistance and then price to continue to move down. And so that's just one confirmation. If we break lower, and I see no real volume coming through, kind of like a flat profile, I'm skeptical that this is simply a liquidity grab and that we were going to reverse and come back up. So yeah, I'd like to see a nice high volume spike come in here, price consolidate a little bit, maybe give you a little bit of a pullback with a structure. Can't read that at all. So price moves down. You know, we get some consolidation with a supporting trend line structure, kind of like we see over here, but like in a 1,000 volume chart or a 1 minute chart, and we break that structure, make a push to the downside. So I would say that would be a setup that I'm looking at this morning, breaking this level, making another move down. And you know, where does she want to go? I mean, really, we've got this next level down here, but that is a big drop. She may want to do it today. I don't know. May want to do it. It's looking bearish. Sentiment looks bearish. We'll see. We're going to need order flow to confirm that for us. Down here, we do have our cumulative delta. I'm going to blow this window up. Down here, we do have cumulative delta. And there's a couple levels here that I mark out. When the market opens, I move this dashed line to where cumulative delta is on the open. I'm sure I could find an indicator that would do that for me, but I've just been doing it manually. And then I also have the 0 line marked out here on delta. This is just going to give me a really good reference of market sentiment. So if I see price beginning to move up but I see Delta remaining below zero line and possibly, being below session open for Delta. I'm gonna see this as Delta divergence, and this move is probably not on. And I would be waiting for bearish structure to bullish structure to break to the downside, and taking that shorter. Even if I had a level of resistance marked up here, I'd be waiting for price to move in there, maybe just taking a position and then making it like a 3R, so putting my risk up here and my take profit down here or something. But Delta is going to give me a really good idea if this move is valid or not. And the same thing, that if we break to the downside, pull it down here. If we break to the downside, and this is that support level that we drew out, we break that, we get a low volume node forming with that high volume spike, and I see Delta really moving down as we're in here. That's just going to show me sellers are stepping in at these levels, and it's going to push price lower. And again, your stop is up here, and you can do a 2R, 3R. If you're a better trader than me, that's what you're doing. I sometimes go for a 1R. I don't know. I need to continue to work on that, holding my winners, and cutting my losers quicker. Right now, we are pushing up, so we'll see what happens. Market's going to open in 5 minutes. We are trading today my funded futures funded account over here, the 50K account that I've had for a little bit. I've been trading mostly micros on it because it's only got a 2K drawdown. So we're up 341 bucks trading like 1 or 2 micros. I'm probably going to do that today as well. I'm probably going to use my copy trader to trade on this account sim one contract, and then I'm going to use my replicanto trader over here to trade from my sim over to my funded futures, and I'm going to go yeah, exact quantity, I guess. There was a way that you could do ratio. So what I can do is I can trade 1 micro and then trade 2 minis. No, trade 1 mini, trade 2 micros. I always get those confused. So with these funded accounts, they tell you it's 50K. It's not really 50K. It's whatever your drawdown is, which is $2,000 on this my funded futures. So, trading full size contracts with a $2,000 account is basically a recipe for blowups, and I've done that many a times. So I've learned to, on these $2,000 drawdown accounts, or even like 2,500 drawdown accounts, to manage my risk much better. I tend to hold on to accounts a lot longer, and it's just overall a better situation, and it's also just a lot less stressful. Like, I don't really, if I'm trading 2 contracts, I lose $100. It's not like the end of the world. If I'm trading 2 contracts and I lose $1,000 on a $2,000 account, you're basically setting yourself up for a pretty massive full tilt session. So anyways, that's what we got. It's 8:27 right now. Market's going to open in 3 minutes. Let's see if we can find some setups. Okay, guys, we're back. Right now it's 10:57, and I think we're done trading for the day, even though this thing does look like it wants to keep dropping down. I try not to trade past 10:30 a.m. Nothing good for me seems to ever happen after 10:30 a.m. So I've got kind of a rule not to trade pre-market, and also not to try not to trade after 10:30 a.m. unless something really good is happening, or there's some big news or something like that. But I'm gonna do my best here to look at these charts and not take a trade. All right, let's take a look at what happened today. Coming in this morning, our first line of support, obviously when we came in this morning, it looked really bearish. Our first line of support was right down here in this touch point, which was right around 23,030, which is where price is actually right now. But price has not been there this session except for the first couple minutes. So let's take a look at what we had going on the first couple minutes. That orange line right here on the chart is still that support level. We're just going to blow this one up. This is a 2,000 volume chart. This is just going to give us a little bit more information to take a look at. I do not have a volume profile on this chart. Again, guys, you don't really need a volume profile. I like volume profiles. Well, for the way that I trade, I like volume profiles because they're showing me low volume nodes that I use as support and resistance levels. And I also like to use them on breakout trades as retest areas. So Another thing that I like to use them for is what I had said this morning was that I like to see high volume nodes spike on breakouts. So here's that support level. The market open was actually like right here was the market open. Again, this is a 2000 volume chart, so it's not a time chart, but price action is price action. The price is the price. Doesn't matter what chart you're looking at it on. Um, we had that just initial push down. I thought we were just going to go. This dotted line down here is where Delta opened. And we obviously opened negative. The solid line is 0. So we actually opened about negative 1,000, which isn't like crazy bearish, but it's bearish enough, particularly when you see like a pretty strong downtrend that we had coming in this morning. We had, Delta pushing down, breaking swing support here. Sorry, we're over here. So that is not the swing support. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong part. It did break down a little bit lower, but not super aggressive. So when we came down here and we broke through here, I was really looking for this thing to move down a little bit more and then to get a high volume node spike coming in here to show that sellers were taking over and we're going to push this thing further down. Did not happen at all. It wicked, got some wicks here. And then Delta just started to move higher. And this was really the indication that short sellers were not in control. This thing was not going to move down. So I just sat on my hands all through this. And Delta really saved me because this thing was consolidating. It looked like it was going to push down again. I mean, that was kind of the trade. And I think a lot of people probably went short here. And then you saw this moving up. It was just a bear trap. So we stayed out of it. And then as Delta was moving up, this is just such bullish structure. What we actually saw was as we broke higher, as price began to break higher, we actually saw a low volume node form here and then a higher volume node form here. That looks funny. And it was the exact opposite of what we thought was going to happen down here. So we saw that, we saw price breaking here and we saw a high volume node form and a low volume node of support forming. I took a long, and then I added to it here, and I ended up getting out for not really that much. I clearly should have held on to it up to VWAP. And I think part of that was I knew I was doing a video and I didn't want to take a loss and I wanted to get a green one off the bat. So anyways, but that's okay. I made, I don't even know how much, maybe $90 or something, $80, something like that, just on this little sloppy thing here. But this was a nice move where we saw price breaking higher, high volume node form, and then we also saw Delta going along with it. I ended up taking another long up here on this VWAP retest and getting out just at the break of these highs, which was fine. I did not hold on to this, and I didn't want to re-enter, primarily because cumulative delta down here when we're looking at it, yeah, we're above open, which this bullish structure is nice to see, and we broke above 0, which was nice to see. That's another reason why I went long here, is because I saw us breaking above 0. We're breaking above this high, and we also had a break of structure on price action to the upside, so we went long on the VWAP retest, which was a nice little trade. But then there was just no follow through. We broke back below 0 on Delta. That's just saying there's not going to be any momentum. Bulls are getting trapped up here, and then Delta cannot get back over, right? Delta is just moving sideways here. I took a short here. This was a loss. This was an L. This was a break even. I kept waiting for it to break back to the downside. And so, I was just kind of short in the bottoms here of this range, which wasn't the smartest idea, but I thought it was going to break. Eventually it did break over here. And I just kind of short scalped it down. I would have been much better. Well, I don't know. If I would have held my short there and it would have taken it down, yeah, it would have been better, but you don't know what price is going to do. I mean, one of the big indications here, what price was doing was, we broke the support level here, and this is just such bearish action on Delta that, as we're breaking lower here, we break that support, Delta's moving along with it, which is a nice confirmation of price. Delta came down, we broke session open on Delta down here, consolidated, then moved back up. Now it's just starting to look choppy, right? Now it's like we don't really have follow through either way. and it's just looking choppy around here. I ended up taking my last short on this one, which was Delta that just looked overextended. And I thought we were going to break lower, which we did. I just didn't have the balls to hold on to it. It was later in the day. I mean, this was at 10 o'clock. And I don't know, I had already made some money on my account. And again, I knew I was doing this video and I just wanted to come in, green and not up 30 bucks. I mean, I'm only up 180 bucks, but I'm only trading little micro contracts. So, it's fine. It's 180 bucks. If you were trading minis, it'd be 1800 bucks, but you're not trading minis, you're trading micro. So it's a different game. So you got to keep that in mind. I don't know. What you really like to see is to get in a good trade is you would like to see this momentum going down here and then it's really moving below on Delta, like Delta really moving lower. But we're really not. I mean, you can see over here this low where Delta is here, that low on the open, and now Delta's up here, even though price is kind of where it was over here. It's looking just kind of choppy and shitty, and I think you just get chopped up in this if you try to trade anymore. And considering the time at 11:05, I mean, this is just a horrible time to try to take a trade on a day with really no fundamental news going on. So now is the time to quit. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to leave a link in the description for a free cumulative delta indicator. I did not make this indicator. A guy named Gil, somebody or other, I don't know who, but I found the indicator and it works exactly like Ninja Trader's paid version that you get with the lifetime license. So I've tested both and they both work basically the same. So that's a really nifty tool for you to throw in your chart, and it's just one more tool to add to your toolkit. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Hope you found some value in this, found it somewhat interesting. I don't know, maybe a little entertaining. If you did, give it a like, a subscribe, and I'm going to check you guys back here later. See ya.